Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is something a little bit different. What next for Manchester United? Where will Manchester United be in the next 12 months? Goldbridge predicts, but also you predict as well. Get in the comments. I feel that so much of my time around Man United at the moment is spent thinking about what is actually going to happen. It's an exciting, curious, confusing and scary prospect because this is meant to be something new. But in a year's time, where will we be? And what are the clues we already have as to where we will be? We're going to go through those layers now, but do get your comments in below because I've got some strong predictions on where we will be. But I think if you'd gone before Christmas and asked me where we're going to be in a year, I'd have been thinking about the last 10 years under the Glazers, the steady, obvious, evidential decline, and I would have said we've probably not hit the bottom of the barrel before. When Rangnick came in all that time ago, 2 years ago, I said, I don't think we've hit the bottom of the barrel. When Ten Hag came in, I said, we might not have hit the bottom of the barrel. And, you know, we had a good season and then we've had this season. So I think I always would have said steady roller coaster up and down, but a gradual decline until this change. And I think with this change, we'll know in 12 months whether there is genuine hope and progress or whether it is going to be more of the same because we are restricted by a majority ownership that is only focused on money. And even today, we see stories coming out about season tickets being revoked from people who've had their season ticket for years. It's not all positivity yet, and there are a few teeth that need pulling out before we can grow them back. Not that you can grow teeth back when you pull them out, so please don't think that that's advice. So, look, I think first of all, let's start off with some positives. In a year's time, I would imagine Garnacho, Rasmus and Mainu will progress even more from where they are now, and you can take that on the basis of how Rasmus has improved in the 6 months he's been at the club, how Garnacho's improved over the last 18 months he's been at the club, and how Mainu has improved over the last 2 months. They are clearly players that are going to improve, and those three players are starters, so that should improve the team. Where does that impact on Manchester United and where we'd be in the league? Well, I don't think we can predict that until we predict who the manager's going to be. I have a feeling that this team, as it stands at the moment, is not obviously the finished article, but I think it's behind the manager. That's good, that's positive, and it's something that we can get behind as well. I think Ineos need to do that, and I think we need to have a proper summer. So I would expect Ten Hag to be here next year as well. There are massive voids there. There are massive opportunities, of course. Liverpool won't have Klopp anymore. Arsenal, look, Arsenal are going to be there or thereabouts, but I don't get the fear from Arsenal that they're some sort of force that we need to be scared of. I think Arsenal are gradually improving, but not at a pace that's not for us to catch, if that makes sense. Yeah, if they buy a striker and another midfielder in the summer, which I expect they will, they'll be stronger next season than they are this season. But I don't ever look at Arsenal and go, they're on a different level. There's one team that's on a different level, and that's Manchester City. But in 12 months' time, do we really think we're going to be competing with Man City for the league? If you said to me in 12 months' time, we'll be comfortably third, still in the Champions League, well, we won't be in the Champions League, but, you know, still in cup competitions, I think for 12 months progress and playing consistently good football, in year one, that's what we're talking about here. And I think those opportunities are there. Brighton have fell off this year. Newcastle look like a bit of a confusing plan at the moment. Yes, Villa are strong. Yes, Spurs are strong. Yes, Arsenal will get stronger. And yes, Liverpool will still remain strong when Klopp's gone. But none of those teams really, if we get our house in order, are unobtainable. I think Man City in a year's time are still going to be way out there. It's boring, I know, but I do. But I think for Manchester United in 12 months' time, there is really an opportunity that we can be in that top four, consistently qualifying for the Champions League. And I think Ten Hag has to be part of that plan. But of course, that takes us into the summer. And the summer will be absolutely huge. What are we going to do in this summer? My prediction is it won't be what some people think it's going to be. It won't be a £300 million spend and every player you don't like gets sold. I don't think for 1 second you're going to see a Bruno Fernandes or a Marcus Rashford or a Luke Shaw or anyone like that moved on. I don't think they'll have the time to do that. I think this summer will go in the blink of an eye. I think it will be frenetic. I think it will be exciting. But I predict we will not see anything, you know, shocking like any of those because they won't have time to do it. You've got Mason Greenwood. You've got Jadon Sancho. You've got Rafael Varane. You've got Harry Maguire. You've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka. You've got Christian Eriksen. You've got Scott McTominay. You've got Anthony Martial. You've potentially got Casemiro. There are others. I'm already at 9, and you think we're going to move on to Bruno or Rashford or something like that. You know, that's sort of an earthquake. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. And of course, you've got the Euros in the summer. You've got to recruit in the summer. It's impossible for Man United to do all that. I actually predict we will have a progressive summer, but won't be surprised when we're on that US tour if you still see some of those players that I listed off that maybe need to go still at the football club. It's not going to be possible to do everything this summer. And I think some people are building it up into this epic sort of Armageddon summer where nothing looks the same afterwards, but I think it's going to be more progressive than that. And in some ways it needs to be. You can't just ram everything down in one summer and then build it all up in the same summer. It's very impressive what Liverpool did with Klopp this summer in replacing his midfield, but we've got so much that needs to be done. My prediction is that this summer transfer window will be progressive. I think we'll see 5 or 6 go and maybe 5 come in. But I still think we'll have players next season that you might be surprised are still here. I certainly don't think there's any room for something, shocking to remove a player that maybe you would get rid of, but I can't see United doing that. I think we will improve over the summer. I think it's about building a squad. I think most important of all, it's about having players that when you lose players to injury, and that's going to happen again next season, this summer is not going to be filed off as a unique one-off. Next summer, we will have injuries. Players are playing more football for longer. There will be more injuries. We need a squad. Players that we're going to bring in, I wouldn't waste my time predicting that. I think Branthwaite's a good player. I think Tadebo's an interesting player. I wouldn't be surprised if we tried to buy both of those and removed maybe Maguire and Varane. But that is just a pure prediction. My main prediction is there will be improvements in the squad that takes us into a position where we can challenge for top 4. And I think that is what we will do, if I'm being completely honest. And I think Ten Hag will still be here. I think we will gradually start to see a better style of football. And I think Ten Hag will be given that next season. And if it doesn't work, I think then they probably will look at some options. With regards to the bigger picture of Manchester United, obviously decisions will be made over what we're going to do with the stadium over the next 12 months. Prediction, honestly, I think they'll knock Old Trafford down and move. I do. I think, whether that's big for somebody or not, that's my prediction because, and it's horrific and it's sad. I don't blame Ineos. I blame the Glazers. They've let a stadium rot for 20 years. Anfield, Bernabeu, Nou Camp, renovation, stay where you are. That's what you do. Man United, let it rust. Now it's become virtually, unsustainable to try and renovate it and survive. We're in debt. We're not in a comfortable position. I think they'll look at the best financial option, which will be a new stadium, and that's very sad. And I wouldn't be surprised if in 12 months that work starts. I don't think anything is going to change in relation to the ownership. I think in 12 months' time, we'll know more about the relationship between Ineos, Sir Jim, and the Glazers, but I don't really see anything massive in relation to more shares or anything like that. I think the Glazers are in it for the long run, and I think Sir Jim's in it for the long run. Obviously, we've got the CEO. I think the Director of Football will be in by the summer. But the key things for me are really about prediction of where we'll be in 12 months and sort of coming back to it, I suppose, in 12 months. And I want to see you do it as well. My prediction is that this season will probably end with nothing. We'd love to win the FA Cup, of course. We'll probably end with nothing and we'll probably finish 5th or 6th. That, to me, is fine. Well, it's not good enough, but that's fine to say, let's write this season off and go again next year. And then next year, by February next year, 12 months' time, I would predict that we will probably be through to the knockout stages of the Europa League. We'll still probably be in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, probably not both. And in relation to the league, I think we'll be in the top 4 race, better than we are this year, more in the top 4 race, i.e. 3rd, something like that. And I think that will be progress. My feeling around progress with Manchester United is one of realism. We can't be fighting for the title next year. That would be a miracle. I don't think we can fight for the title for 2, maybe 3 seasons, really. I think it's about steady, consistent progression in the right direction. We've been a roller coaster club for 10 years. And actually, if that was success, the roller coaster has been like this. This is where we were. It's a gradual roller coaster with a few ups, but gradually going down. We're going to have those ups, but we've got to start moving up gradually, and it will take time. Some people would say 10 years of failure will take 10 years to put right. Some people truly believe in that. I don't think it will take 10 years. I think that some of the mistakes we made were just weren't progressively mistakes. They were just stupid mistakes that you can... There's a few open goals. We've had a bad CEO for 10 years. The recruitment's been bad for 10 years. You can sort that out in a very short period of time. But what you've got to do is build an ethos, build a squad, and build a momentum and a mentality. And I think that will take time. But next season, look, it's going to be a massive one. And prediction, yeah, put us in third this time next year. Latter stages of the European competition we're in and still in a cup competition. And I think that realistically has to go hand in hand with Ten Hag still being the manager, the development of some of the younger players, more younger players coming through, good signings in the summer, removal of players that really can't be part of the future in the summer, and most important of all, an identifiable pattern of play that we can look at and go, that's good. You know, I look at Spurs, Ange has given that. I look at Brighton, De Zerbi has that. Yeah, the results aren't always consistent, but we have to have that in a year. I'd be very interested to see what your predictions are, though, because maybe you don't think it goes that way. And remember the bigger picture as well. Where do you think we'll be in a year's time under this new dual ownership? How do you think that will be going? Because some would say it will go wrong. Some would say the honeymoon will be over. Some would say it's not sustainable to live on positivity on a club that is Glazer owned. And yes, Ineos are trying, but there will be things like we had last couple of weeks ago with the Rashford stuff, the Sancho stuff. You know, there will always be those things around United because ultimately the club really does need a total reset. Can you have a total reset when you've still got Glazers owning a part of the club? We'll have to wait and see. But get your comments in below. Very interested to read this because, yeah, it's not driven by a journalist or an ex-player. It's driven by the people that matter the most. You are the fans and you matter the most. And I don't know, maybe this is a bolt from the blue for you to actually think about it. But I've been thinking about it pretty much since Christmas Eve. What is the next 12 months? They are the biggest 12 months of the last decade for United. Are we going to gradually start improving, or are we going to continue to be this roller coaster that actually is further dropping down? And what conviction and prediction and confidence do you have that this is going to be the handbrake on regression and we actually are going to start with progression? Get your comments in below. Make sure you smash a like on the video. I think we're all going to be reading these comments. So I'm saying in a year's time, the relationship between Glazers and Ineos will still be stable. We'll have finalised a plan to move out of Old Trafford, sadly. We'll be third in the league. We'll be in the latter stages of the Europa League. And we'll still be in one of the cups, Carabao Cup or FA Cup. We'll have removed some players, but not all of the players you think. There'll be no shock exits like a Bruno or a Rashford or a Luke Shaw. We will bring some players in. The squad will be improved and we'll be consistently playing a better brand of football. Let's come back to it. Let's see what you've got to say. Get your comments in below. Smash a like on the video. And don't forget, on your way out as well, the podcast is going through a major transition on Monday and you're going to want to be part of it. So get on it before. Start listening to some episodes. Goldbridge Saves Football. Scan the QR code. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Thank you very much for watching. And don't forget to get your predictions in the comments.